everybody, welcome. This is Neetu and welcome to Soul Kitchen. Are you ready to make this absolutely delicious orange caramel cake? This cake is an explosion of flavors in your mouth. It's literally an explosion. And if you're a lover of oranges and of marmalade, then trust me, you are going to love this. And let's see how it's done now. Okay, let's see now how this cake begins. Now first, we are going to start with our caramel, making our caramel, and we're going to, prep our pans. Let's see how that's done. So we're making our caramel now, and in my saucepan I have about 50 ml of water and about 2/3 cup of white sugar, and we're just gonna let this melt. And as you can see, the sugar is melting quickly. And just remember, no using a spoon in this, because if you use a spoon, the caramel is going to get hard around it. So just let it melt, and it's going to take a couple of minutes for it to become nice and amber. And that's what we're looking for. And the color started changing now. As you can see, it's become like a light brown color. And you'll start smelling the caramelization also. You'll start getting to know that, okay, this is happening now. As you can see, it's become nice and amber now, and this is the time to turn off the gas, and we're going to pour it. Just give it a nice swirl, and we're going to pour this. Okay, now we're just going to pour this in our pan nicely. That's it. As you can see, I have lined, we lined our pans with caramel, and now I have gently put in the orange slices in here. That's how you layer them. And now I'm baking this in 2 small pans. You could do it in 2 small pans, or you could do it in 1 bigger pan. That's totally your choice. And this is about how fine we slice the oranges. So they're sliced quite finely. And I've used the oranges in which the pulp is still quite intact. So that's it. This is our sugar, in which I've added the zest of 1 orange. So we add the zest, and then we just mix it up, and that way, the zest, the flavor of the zest really gets enhanced and gets incorporated nicely into the sugar and then into the cake. All right. Now that our caramel is done, and our pans are prepped, our oranges have been sliced finely, and our pans are ready. What I did was, after the pans were cool, I buttered them, and I floured the sides. Only the sides, because the lower part has caramel, of course. So only the sides you're going to butter them, and you're going to lightly dust them with flour. And of course, then we put the orange slices. And now the actual cake is going to be the most simplest thing on this earth. It's basically like a pound cake which you're putting together. And let's see how it's done. Okay, so in this I have my sugar, which is 3/4 cup of sugar, and the zest of one orange, and I have 100 grams of softened butter. Now we're going to whip this up and proceed. Okay. And what I'm using is caster sugar, by the way, or granulated or caster sugar. Before I forget, please make sure that your ovens are on at 175 degrees centigrade. We're beating this on a low to medium speed, for about roughly 1.5 minutes, till the sugar is nicely incorporated into the butter. looks nice. I just show it to you. Looks nice and frothy. Everything is mixed in nicely. Now, since I'm making an eggless cake, I'm going to use, normally we would use 2 eggs for this. You could also use 2 eggs and about 1/4 cup of yogurt. But I'm going to make this totally eggless. So normally one would use 2, a half cup of yogurt. But this cake, because of the layer of caramel, it gets very moist because the caramel also releases its moisture. So I'm using half a cup of yogurt less 1 tablespoon. So half a cup of yogurt less 1 tablespoon goes into this now. And put it in 2 parts, so because we don't want the yogurt, we don't want to separate the yogurt. Okay, now the second cup, the other half which is left over, goes in. And again we're going to beat this on a low to medium speed for about 1.5 minutes. This is looking really lovely. Let me show it to you again. Look at that, it looks nice and frothy and beautiful. Now we are going to add our vanilla extract. Oh yeah, a vanilla extract, about 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And if you are using vanilla essence, which is more easily available in India, then 3/4 teaspoon, no more than that. Because otherwise your cake is going to be very commercial. It's going to have that fake vanilla essence which you get in so many bakeries, and we definitely don't want that. So if it's vanilla essence, 3/4 teaspoon, and vanilla extract is 1 teaspoon. Scrape the sides down once again. And that's it. Now Now all that's left to do is mix in our flour. That's it. It's so simple. This cake is such a favorite in my home. Like every winter, at least 2-3 times, I have to make it because everyone is like, "Where's your cake? Where's your, orange cake? We haven't had orange cake till now." And it's, I've been making it for about 10 years now, and it's like a real favorite. And trust me, once you start making it, especially if you have, people who like marmalade at home, this is going to be a real favorite. Okay, so now I added the flour. We're going to add the flour in 3 parts. So I added 1/3 cup first, and then I've added baking soda, half a teaspoon, and baking powder, 1 teaspoon. And we're just going to mix this by hand, not by the whisk for sure. I always like to do this by hand because it ensures a softer cake. And we want to make sure that everything is nicely blended in. The flour is nicely blended in. Now the second part. And just make sure everything is nicely done. I'm using the cut and fold method, which I will show you. fold it and you cut it in the middle. Fold it and cut it in the middle. Fold it and cut it in the middle. And this is how it's done, you know, traditionally. And traditionally, cakes were really good. This is how my mom taught me how, you know, to do stuff. Now the batter of this cake is going to be slightly thicker than, you know, other batters, cake batters which we use. And that is because, like I said, you know, the caramel is going to release a lot of moisture. So it's going to become nice and soft with that moisture. And, you know, just make sure when you're doing it that there are no, you know, there are no streaks of flour left. You know, you want it to be nicely incorporated. And I think we're about done. Yeah, so this is looking very lovely. Now this is how it should be. It should be still be lumpy, but it should be nicely incorporated. Woo. Yeah, okay. There, that's how it's looking. Alright. So now we just put the cake, you know, the batter into a pan. And I'm using two like 4-inch pans, you know, because I just felt like having two smaller cakes. But you can use a 1 8-inch pan, and you know, that'll work perfectly fine. Make sure you get everything out. Don't want to leave any of this good stuff behind. And now we just smooth this out. These are going to make two lovely little tea cakes, which our families and we and our friends are just going to love. Trust me, this cake is so good. It's so good. It's like, it's sinful in every little bite. That's the best way to describe it. Okay. Oh. And you know, just even it out, smooth it out. And that's it. And now we're going to put these in the oven on the lower shelf, you know, the oven which has been preheating at 175 degrees centigrade. And we're going to put it on the lower shelf, not the middle rack, the lower shelf. And it's going to bake like this. These are smaller tins, so you know, these are going to bake for about 35 minutes. And a bigger tin, you know, 8-inch would probably bake for about 45 to 45 minutes. And just remember one very important thing, that when you're checking for the, you know, if the cake is done, you know, the center tends to get done quicker than the sides. Because what happens is that the caramel, you know, it oozes out on the sides, so the sides still remain quite undone. So when you're checking with a toothpick, make sure you also check along the edges. Like, you know, check it in the center and check it also along the edges with the toothpick, if it's done or not done. Okay, we're gonna see these beauties soon. In about half an hour. And after about 20-25 minutes, you know, if you feel that the tops are getting too brown, then just cover it very lightly with a foil and they'll be good. Okay. So our cake is done, and you know, it baked for about 35 minutes for my size, you know, which was 4-inch pans, 2 4-inch pans. And if you're baking, you know, in a 7-inch pan, then I suggest you bake for about 45 minutes or so, and it'll be done. And it is looking so good, and my home was smelling like heaven. It's looking really, really nice, and I can't wait to dig in. The caramel is looking so good. I mean, I know, I've this cake is such a pleasure in my home. Everyone receives it with so much enthusiasm, and it's anyone who loves marmalade is just going to love this cake. So it's a really good cake, and it's very underrated because I really haven't seen too many recipes, for caramel orange cake. What the caramel does is, when the oranges are cooking in it, it really enhances the taste of the oranges, the flavor of the oranges, the fragrance of the oranges. And a plain orange cake and a caramel orange cake, they are worlds apart. I mean, this caramel really does magic to orange. So I'm gonna do the taste test now, and let's see. Okay, so I cheated a little bit. I couldn't, I cheated a little bit and I took one bite already, but I'm gonna take another bite and show you just how lovely this cake is. It can get a little messy, while serving, because the oranges tend to break and go all over the place. But trust me, once your family or your friends taste it, they'll be like, "Oh my God, what is this beautiful thing in my mouth?" Okay, let's try it. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Mm. This cake is truly an explosion of that orange flavor in your mouth. It just explodes because the caramel, the orange flavor just infuses into the caramel so beautifully. And when that caramel hits your tongue, it's like, whoa, it's like a bomb explosion. Really, it just explodes in your mouth. So, so please do try this cake if you like oranges, if you like marmalade especially, and I promise you, you're gonna love it. And you won't find this recipe in too many other places. That much I can guarantee. I haven't found it anywhere else. This was a recipe, which I saw many years back, like maybe 10 years back on, I think BBC Food or something like that, BBC Good Food. And, it's been a keeper. So please do try it, and, let me know how it turns out in your comments. And the entire detailed recipes in the comments below, as well as in the caption. And take a look at it and follow it to a T, and you won't be disappointed, promise. And follow me along, for great recipes, for great baking tips, and let's have some fun together. Happy baking. Bye bye.